Now you can tell the menu itself is not in the right position. And the perfect way to handle that is to add some bottom margin or padding to this header area. And so that's what we're going to do. Although we're not going to do it there. What we're going to do is come over to the style for our header area. So we come back over to CSS, come back over to header area. And under options, what we'll do is add, actually I think we'll just start off with adding some padding. And we're not going to add top padding here. I think our top padding is fine, isn't it? Let's see, let's refresh this. Yeah, I think our top padding is fine. So we're going to add some bottom padding. And that looks like that is about 20 pixels, maybe a little bit more than 20 pixels, that has to be pushed down. So my bottom padding, I'm going to try putting in 20 pixels, see if that does the trick. Not quite. Another 5 pixels. So we go back to header area and adjust the bottom padding. Okay, I guess 2 more pixels, maybe 27 pixels. So you got a little bit of trial and error there. And I guess I need one more. Just one more. Although, actually, I probably don't need one more. And you'll see why here in just a minute. So we'll just save that and double check it. I guess I didn't save the CSS. Okay. So that's got our header pretty closely configured now. And with that, I'm going to put that variable back into the top menu area. Remember we had this background, and the background color was BC1. Whoops. It was $BC1. Now we've got this line back, stretching all the way across, right? And what we're going to do is change the value of the variable BC1, and it will change everything that has that color to it. Now, when we talk about variables, the variables for agility are down here. All right, so we've got text color variables, and we have background color variables, and we have padding variables. So these are built into Agility Nude. And if you scroll all the way or go to the near the end of this document, I think it is the end of the document, the very last page, you can see where the variables are being used. So background color 1 is being used in the top menu area, in the footer top area, and in the top menu link. And then the BC2 is a submit button, so on and so forth, right? That's where these colors are currently being used. And in Agility, we're only using BC1, BC2, and BC6. 3, 4, and 5 are currently unused and are available for you to just go ahead and use. There are other versions of Agility that will be coming out that use those, but for the time being, BC1, 2, and 6 are the only 3 background colors that are currently being used. And so what we're going to do is change that variable color. Now this color is a specific green, and that green is, if you give me just a moment, find it in my notes. A little harder to find in my notes than I thought it was. Is this color here. So we come down to our primary menu color, which is BC1. And instead of that color, it's this color. Now, every place that color was used has now been changed to green. All right? And that's the same green as that green color that was in the image. And so it overlays it perfectly, and it evens out any unevenness that might exist between the actual height of that image and makes it look decent. So we've changed BC1 to a specific color, and now that is this main background color here. And that brings us to changing the style of the menu. Now, the menu in Agility is styled using this top menu package. That is, the top menu is styled using the top menu package. The bottom menu is styled using the footer menu package. Okay, these are two packages that are very similar to each other, but they are nevertheless different styles for each individual situation. And actually, we have been looking, when we looked at header area and top menu area and that kind of stuff, we were looking at packages that are called single element style packages. And that is a package that essentially applies to one thing only. But there are several different types of packages available here. There's a single element style, there's the links, there's a horizontal drop-down menu, which is the one that we're looking at right now. It's a horizontal drop-down menu style, and so it has different settings than the single element style package. And you would only use this horizontal drop-down menu package to style a horizontal drop-down menu. You wouldn't use it for anything else. Whereas the single element style can be used for lots of different things. So anyway, if we come over here to our options, you really have primarily two things you are styling. You are styling the text in the menu, and you are styling the background of the menu. Now you also have a few other things like border and padding and stuff like that, and that's a different story really. But in terms of font, in this case, what we're going to do is take our font settings, and we're going to change those to Arial. But we'll leave the font size 16. Leave that as it is. I think we'll go ahead and leave it as bold, but we're not going to use italic. We're not going to use a font variant. We're not going to use a text transform. Or are we actually? I guess we are using we're using all caps here. So we are going to come back over to text transform, and we'll say capitalize. And we'll leave text align different. But we do have letter spacing set up here, and I think we'll leave the letter spacing set the way it is. So we'll leave it at 1 pixel. And what this does is put 1 pixel of space in between each letter. So those are our font settings. Then we come to the font and background settings. And there are essentially 5 states for you to style. There is the link state, which is what the menu looks like essentially by default. There is the hovered link state, which is what the menu looks like when you hover over it. There is the active link state, which I don't use, but it is what the menu looks like when you click on it, but before you've released your mouse. There is the current link state, which is the menu item for the current page. And then there is the current parent link state, which is the menu item of the parent of the current page. Now, as a practical matter, we are only going to style links, hovered links, and current links. But if we come back over here to the site for a second, Okay, so here we are on our front page, and that color right there, this brown color, this is the current link state. So it's got that background color and this font color in its current state. What you see here, without me hovering over it, what you see there is the standard link state, what the menu looks like, by default. And then this is the hover state. So when you hover your mouse over it, the fact that it changes its color and goes to white, that's the hover state. And then if you click down on it, that is the current state before you release it. But we aren't going to use those, so we'll just jump back. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the link state, the current state, and the hover state. Those are the states that we're going to style. We'll leave the other ones alone. Okay, so in terms of our link state, we are currently using text color 3 as our link state. And text color 3, whoops, that's not what I wanted. But text color 3 is this kind of reddish color right now as it's set up. And so we're going to change the text color 3 color to that red color. Oh, is that what we're doing? Actually, hang on just one moment. No, we're not. We're changing it to white, right? That's where it is right now. The link state is white. And so we're going to leave it at white. Now, I'm going to actually, you could do a couple different things here. You could just ignore this text color here and type in white, FFF. And that would be sufficient to make it the white color. Or you could change the variable to white, or you could use a white colored variable. Now, in this case, I'm just going to use FFF, but I could choose to use a different text color or use a variable. But I'm not going to change the text color 3 is my accent color variable. I'm not going to change that color to white because that's not really what my accent text is going to be. So essentially, I'm not using the accent text color in my menu any longer. Okay, so the link state has a background color of 2. I'm sorry, not the link state, the hover state. Uses background color 2. And background color 2 is a lighter color green. And that lighter color green is, let's go down to our hover menu color, and let's change that to this lighter color of green. And now, well, we're not getting our hover color quite yet. Let's save the CSS for a second. What did I do? I must have failed here someplace. In my top menu, link settings, links. I did. I failed to make that FFF. Failed to make that white. That is white, but I don't actually want this to be white, I don't think. But let's just try that again. Hit save. There we go. But it didn't turn out to Arial either. What on earth did I do there? Obviously I set aside something. I didn't save this. So we're going back to Arial. Font size stays the same. Font weight stays bold. Text transform goes down to capitalize. Letter spacing is 1. Well, not quite. Well, let's just save the CSS and reload this and see how it looks now. It's probably just no, I'm not getting the capitalization here. I don't really know why that's the case, because I should be. Yeah, it is uppercase, and I was pretty dang sure I said that it should be uppercase. Oh, my mistake. Absolutely. It's uppercase, not capitalized, but uppercase. Capitalize means take the first letter and make it capital, regardless of whether or not it actually is. Uppercase makes it all uppercase. And actually, I think that's a little too bold, so I'm going to take the bold off. Essentially take it to default. There we go. That's what I want it to look like. Now, we still have a problem with our hover color. And probably because I put the wrong color in. I think that's what I did. So if we come down to our menu hover color, which is BC2, I put the wrong color in. There's the correct color. Now when you hover, it turns this light green. Okay. And so finally we have the current color that we need to change. And our current color, oh no, I'm not using current. Yeah, I'm not using current. So I'm not going to bother styling that. I'm sorry, that's my mistake. So we come back over to our top menu and we just remove the current. Now, you could change the current background color. Right now I'm using BC6. So you could, in fact, come down to BC6, which is the accent background color. No, other background color. And let's put that green in and hit save. And so, now you've got that color shows up instead. Now, it also gives it a different text color, and so probably what I'm really going to do with that is come back over to the top menu and just remove all the styles in the current menu. So current links, I'm just going to take everything out of it entirely. Hit save. And now the menu is essentially the way I want it, except that this is a little too narrow. So I'm going to make this something like 240 pixels wide or something like that instead. So we go back over to the top menu and go to our submenu width and make it 240 pixels. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And actually, I could make it so that it lined up with finished projects, which would make it about 228 pixels or something like that. Oh, my mistake. Okay, 222. Well, pretty close anyway. Maybe I guess it's just 220, but nevertheless, you see the point I'm making is that you can adjust the width of the drop down.